Hello. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I understand. Yes, sir, I'll take care of it right away. Goodbye. Oh, Gus isn't going to like this. Gus? Oh, Gus.
That tone of voice at this time of day means just one thing, trouble.
Gus, the professor just called about those machine exhibits.
Machines?
You know, in those boxes he asked you to store in the north wing.
Oh, those. Well, tell the prof to relax. They're all stored away.
Oh, that's too bad.
Huh?
I said that's too bad. He now wants them set up in the south wing.
The south wing?
And before the museum opens in the morning.
All the way to the other end of the building.
I'm sorry, Gus. Another short notice tour. A mechanical engineer is bringing in a group of high school students first thing tomorrow. They'd like those exhibits for it.
Okay. Who you got to help?
I'm afraid everyone else is gone, Gus.
That leaves just you and me, huh?
Sorry. Committee meeting tonight. Absolutely essential I be there.
I'm sure of that.
Now, here's what the professor wants. Just follow these instructions and you'll have no trouble. Thanks a lot, Gus. I have to hurry on now. Good night.
Good night. Once again, old Gus is left holding the bag. Store 'em here, store 'em there. Move 'em to the north wing, move 'em to the south wing. Bunch of nonsense. What's so great about the mechanical engineering guys anyway? Machines. Lever. Pretty wonderful, eh, Archimedes? Pretty ridiculous, if you ask me. Wheel and axle, it says. A pulley. Inclined plane. Looks like an outside cellar door to me. The wedge. And the screw. And people actually come here to look at this stuff. Sure beats all. What was that?
It's only me, Gus. It's just that I'm a little sensitive about that lever. I had to do something about it.
Now, look here. You can't go running around like this. You're a statue.
There's nothing to worry about, Gus.
But statues don't do that sort of thing. Not in this museum, anyhow.
The museum is closed.
No, yes, but it opens at 9 in the morning. And if you're prancing around here when those fellows come...
Oh, yes. The mechanical engineer and his high school students.
Come on now. Back on your pedestal like a good statue, please.
I was sort of a mechanical engineer myself, you know. Fact is, the principle of the lever was my discovery.
Okay, anything you say. And now
I'm
you'll
afraid you don't appreciate the tremendous significance of these simple devices, Gus.
Look, I just work here and...
It's understandable. After all, it's not these machines, but what has come from them that is so amazing. Yes, Gus, even I am amazed the way mechanical engineers have taken these simple principles represented here, combined and adapted them to machines that do almost everything. You know, Gus, all machines, no matter how complicated, are a combination one way or the other of these elements. The lever, wheel and axle, pulley, inclined plane, wedge, and the screw. Yes, it's amazing when you stop and think about it.
Huh, what an imagination.
Right. That's just what it takes most of all. Creative imagination, along with a burning interest in science and mathematics, a large order of ingenuity, and a never-ending curiosity. And the results of all this are all around you, on all sides, to enrich mankind. Think about it, Gus. Think hard. Use your imagination. Think. Think.
Hello, Gus. I'm a farmer. Here's what mechanical engineering has done for all of us who work on the farms. And for you, too. Machines take the place of muscle now. Powerful tractors and all kinds of farm machinery take the tough, hard work out of farming. It's a lot different from the old days. No, sir. No more long hours walking behind a plow. No more laboring by hand to cultivate a crop. No more back-breaking drudgery from morning to night. Today, machines do all the hard work. Wherever you look on the farms across the land, you'll see the burden of work taken off the farmer and put on machines. Wherever there is a job to be done, power and machines take over, doing more work in less time to provide more feed for livestock and a great abundance of food, not only for more than 160 million people in our land today, but for millions of people in other countries all over the world. In 1900, one farm worker could produce only enough for himself and 6 other people. Today, with the help of machines, he can produce enough for himself and 17 others. Think of it. Think of it, Gus. Think of it. Think of it.
Pretty wonderful when you stop and think about it, eh, Gus? But the important thing is it took somebody with creative imagination to see how these simple principles could be applied before those farm machines could become real. And who were the somebodies? Mechanical engineers. You've been married 30 years, haven't you, Gus?
How'd you know that?
Standing around as I do, I overhear a lot of things. During the years, all the various machines you bought for your wife, ever stop to think what they've meant to her? Think what she could say about them, Gus. Remember, remember, remember.
Every appliance you've bought me, Gus, has made living easier, life more pleasant. There are so many wonderful machines a woman has today to help her in her work. Just flip a switch or turn a knob and presto, food cooked deliciously and automatically, not only in the oven, but any other way she likes it prepared. Dishwashing, automatically done without fuss or bother. And wash days, so simple now compared to the days when we were first married, Gus. No matter what the job is, there are machines to take the hard work out of it. And that new home freezer you just bought me, Gus. One more thing to give me extra free time to enjoy myself. More time for us both to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. But it's hard for me to swallow how those electrical appliances we use around the house tie back to these things.
Oh, you mean because electricity supplies the power? If I didn't know you so well, I think you were just plain stubborn, Gus. It's like this. Without machines, there'd be no power, electrical, steam, or whatever kind. That's where the mechanical engineer comes in, designing machines which produce power. Actually, there is nothing that affects your life that mechanical engineering hasn't touched one way or another. Put your imagination to work again, Gus. Let it run away with you, and you'll see for yourself. For instance, in steel plants, machines of many kinds. Giant furnaces that make thousands of kinds of special steel. Powerful rollers that squeeze and form the metal in various shapes other manufacturers use to produce something you seldom see, or some little thing everyone is familiar with. Because of machines, your food is better. There is more of it and in greater variety. Mechanical engineers have developed machinery for quick freezing foods in the field. And looking to the future, work is being done on the development of atomic isotopes along safe food preservation. Everywhere you look, there are machines, some of them almost human, that do many amazing things. You know, Gus, a long time ago, Leonardo da Vinci had an idea about flying machines. While his machines were practical, his ideas were too far ahead of the people and the times. And he worked alone. Today's progress comes from engineers working together, sharing their knowledge and effort in a way unknown in Da Vinci's time. There were no professional organizations like the American Society of Mechanical Engineers to stimulate such progress and understanding. As a result of those organizations, today, fast, safe flying machines have reduced the whole world to a small neighborhood. Today, almost everyone in America enjoys his own personal transportation system. And businesses carry their wares to your own doorstep. To build these things, tools are needed. To design and build the machines that make tools, again, mechanical engineers are needed. So, when you travel about in your car, using all the mechanical advantages it affords, such as power steering, think of all the machines, the thousands of operations, large and small, that have come together to make your trip possible. And mechanical engineers have had a hand in every one of them. And good as your car may be today, even now there are young men with imagination who will create a car far better. This creative work never stops. There will always be engineers who conceive things, and what a man conceives, he can do. Think for a moment what a mechanical engineer might tell you about his job. Just imagine what he'd say, Gus.
Our work is far-reaching, Gus. You find it everywhere. You see, it's our job to take raw materials, adapt them to useful forms, take natural forces, and harness them to do man's work. Technically speaking, we design, build, and use apparatus that generates, transmits, and uses power. That just about covers the waterfront. For instance, you'll find the results of our work in powerful diesel or gas turbine engines working on the railroads, in the new types of power plants for propelling ships across the seas, and other mechanical devices that make it possible to reach the deep caverns of the earth for natural gas or oil, and do hundreds of other tremendous jobs necessary to carry the natural resources to the places where industry transforms them into useful things people need and enjoy. And there's hardly anything that mechanical engineering has not touched in some way. Giant shovels for mining iron ore, and massive loading apparatus to load ore into ships were once only ideas of an engineer. In great forests, timber is prepared for the wood industry, home construction, or for the things you like to make yourself. In every home, the result of mechanical engineering is on all sides. Controls for heating in winter, and air conditioning in summer. And the equipment itself would not have been possible without mechanical engineering. Behind every flick of a switch is a great power plant whose steam boilers and turbines generate electricity for providing instant light or power. Joy, amusement, and happiness are a result of mechanical engineering. Pleasure in enjoying carefree moments outdoors, or the entertainment of your choice. The news of the world in newspapers or magazines. The adventurous land of fiction are yours to enjoy because of mechanical engineering. We could go on for hours, Gus, telling you about the thousands of machines developed by engineers to make the things you use every day of your life. Imagine, imagine, imagine.
It's really astonishing, Gus, that all those machines are developments and adaptations of these 6 simple ones. I once said if I had a place to stand, I could move the earth. But there'd be no point to that. What the engineers have done with the idea is the important thing. That hand truck you use every day is a simple example that affects you.
By golly, I never thought of that.
Mechanical engineers work right along with other engineers, too, like civil engineers. And in mining and metallurgy, in chemistry, in electricity, in just about every field of engineering, you'll find a mechanical engineer.
These mechanical engineers, they do about everything, don't they?
Indeed they do, Gus. You can't fit him into a precise slot. For instance, he may be a machine designer, working with electrical engineers to make some machine more efficient. He may be a specialist in scientific management, applying the science of mathematics to quality control or lowering costs. Or an engineer working on ways to improve the optical systems of your camera to give you finer pictures. He may be an aircraft designer who will solve one of the problems of the thermal barrier in supersonic flight. Or he may be a young man who has never worked on a farm, but who has newer ideas on better ways to harvest, pack, or ship a crop. Again, he may be a designer of a catalytic cracking plant, or the designer of oil refineries, or the designer of machines used in the petroleum and chemical industries. And you'll find the result of his work in the design of machinery for better logging operations, and in the design of tools for better woodworking. He may be a professor who spends a lifetime in the classroom, but whose hundreds of students will go out year after year, adventuring and pioneering to improve your life and everyone's. The laboratory may be his world, where he can experiment with ways to handle radioactive materials without exposing human beings to the perils of radiation. Or he may be working on plans for a man-made satellite, or machines for interplanetary travel, or improving ways to adapt atomic power to drive vessels or vehicles, or to produce electricity in power stations. All these people, different though their work may be, are mechanical engineers. They followed those who first fitted a piece of stone into a wood handle. They followed the builders of the pyramids, the inventor of the bow and arrow, the men who harnessed the power of steam. Don't you realize, Gus, the whole history of this land of yours is reflected in mechanical engineering, and that machines are responsible for your country's vast production effort, for all the things that make life worth living.
If this keeps up, it won't be long before machines will do everything. Nobody will have work.
No, Gus. Machines create jobs. Throughout the years, new machines have always meant newer and greater opportunities for people, and more people are at work because of them. The Conestoga wagon that carried a whole nation to the western skies. The cotton gin that released thousands from hard work and increased production many-fold. The steamboat that put James Watt's steam engine to work on the ocean. The first locomotive. The reaper. The sewing machine. The elevator. The air brake. The automobile. The linotype machine. The airplane. And thousands of other inventions. And now, the atom, from which will come developments that no one can foresee, and in which the mechanical engineer will play his part. Perhaps now you can understand why these simple machines are so important. They are the shining symbols of hope, security, and happiness for the future, for you and for the benefit of all.
You know, I never realized just how much these things meant until now.
Yes, Gus. And as time goes on, the ideas of today's engineers and the engineers of tomorrow will make them mean much more. The rapid progress in the past 75 years is a direct result of engineers sharing knowledge with each other. And it is through organizations like the American Society of Mechanical Engineers that the accumulated knowledge and experience of many individuals have been spread through the profession of mechanical engineering to enrich mankind.